What's up, everybody? I have Anthony Suarez here today. He was able to win the event at Bushiroad Springfest 2018 for Cardfigth Vanguard with his team. So we have a special treat for you today. He's going to showcase the deck that he piloted to have that great success. So without further ado, Anthony, take it away.
All right, man, thanks. So hey guys, my name is Anthony Suarez. As you mentioned, me and my team came first place at the Bushiroad Springfest 2018 for New York. I decided to play Shiranui Dominate. Reason why is because I've been testing the deck for a while. I felt really comfortable with it, and although I would have played ZTB, with the reboot happening, I really didn't want to spend any more money than I needed to on a new deck. So with that, we can get into the deck list. Alright, we'll start with the extra deck and then we'll work our way down. Alright, so first off we have 4 Rene. So main unit of the deck, pretty much self-explanatory. It carries your games, your main win con. If you're not playing 4, I don't know what you're doing. 2 Mangun Tembus. This one I know is highly debated, but I decided to run it because it flips itself. Also against aggro decks, it's able to maintain some form of board control, so that's pretty nice. 2 Mangun Tembus, I'm sorry, Mugen Lord. So if the game drags out for longer than Rene, then I can go into this and sort of just clean things up with multiple attacks. It does especially well against aggro decks because they commit to their board and they usually have enough to start swinging. 1 Sukumura-kan. So this, I decided to play this over Mukuro because this format right now is heavily favored for mid-range decks, and those decks tend to acquire large hands, so this can potentially steal a game by making their large hand invalid and making it 4 cards. Mukuro would have been good, and in fact, actually, against the finals, against Altmile, it would have helped me a lot, but again, I wasn't expecting that, that matchup. 1 Drachma. I debated on using either this or the GB8. I decided to go for this, though, because of the Gize matchup. I think at the moment, this is probably my only out to that, unless anyone has any other spicy tech. In that case, tell me, please. 1 Seabreeze, pretty self-explanatory. It's especially useful in this deck because you can still get a lot of effects off, especially with Zenki. And then for G-Guards, 2 Gahoricon. The effect actually really didn't go off a lot that weekend because people either play around it or units have resist. But it acted as just simple, G-Guard fodder, and if it does go off, then it went, it went really well. 2 of this guy. This helps for, again, decks that acquire large hands before attacking, and especially against the Sharot matchup, right, DIs. This provides the shield you need to get around cards like Guest Steal and that grade 2. And then lastly, we have this card for the exact opposite situation, in case people want to overcommit to their board and have a low hand. This can give you an extra 5k shield. All right, now for grade 3s. 4 Zenki, main boss unit of the deck. Your main ride. If you don't ride him, make sure that you do eventually. Good resource for advantage. You basically slow roll it throughout the whole game, and then you just win from there. And then as the backup grade 3, I decided to run 3 Oboro. I debated on using either this or the other grade 3 that gives itself plus 10k to be more aggressive, but I didn't want to miss ride, and at the very least, if you ride Oboro, you can still sort of slow roll advantage, so it didn't hurt too much. 4 Enbai. So this is where the build differs from what I was playing pre-Bermuda Booster. I was running a more defensive build with 10k and 8k vanillas, but with the rise of Bermuda decks and a lot of just mid-range decks in general, this allows me to keep putting pressure on them, despite them having very large hands. Because even though they gain that advantage, I can offset it by hitting for large numbers. So this whole build is aiming to be more aggressive and is trying to go second a lot. For Metsu, I know people sometimes run 3, but I decided to run 4 because of the ZTB matchup. Against that, I want to open up with this as much as possible so I can get the bound card and get over Metal Party Dragon. Otherwise, it's just a nice beater. And then finally, we have the 4 Saratsus. The draw helps a lot. The fact that it can attack alone also helps. Pretty much there for board control, and I think is a staple for this deck. All right, for grade 1s, 2 Ayagiri. Same thing as Enbai, right? This build is aiming to be more aggressive, so having cards that can get a lot of power off of dominate attacks is very good. For Miss Frog, my bad. So this is a very interesting card. I had a lot of different ratios with this card, actually. I started off with 2, then 3, then back to 2, and then I actually decided to go with 4 this time because of Layla, which is the 0 base attack crit. I want to have this as often as possible, so that way if I Rene against a Bermuda deck and they drop that card, I can use this to bring that 15k attack up to a 21k attack. So that would force either a G-Guard or 2 cards out of their hand. Alright, for Stride Fodder, pretty self-explanatory, right? Want to stride as often as possible. And then finally we have 4 Unflipping Perfect Guards. I chose this over the Dominate Perfect Guard because I do counterblast a lot in this deck. That's pretty much it. Also, the other Perfect Guard didn't really go off as often as I wanted to, so more reason to run this. And then for grade 0s, we have Burai, which I think is the go-to starter for this. I know other people play the other one that's GB restricted, but I like having the ability to get around the mirror match by putting this into the soul right away and drawing a card, so that way I can nullify any Zanki attacks. Overall, pretty good. And then for the trigger lineup, I'm going to go ahead and separate this out. We have 8 crit, 4 draw, and then 4 heals. So originally I was running 5 draw and 7 crit, especially because of the mirror match. But again, because of a lot of mid-range decks, well, Bermuda really, because of them coming out, I wanted to increase my chances of getting a crit off of a drive check, so I can at least get advantage that way. Case in point, my round 2 opponent was playing Coral, and I managed to double crit them to either 4 or 5 damage. That really helped going into mid-game, because at that point, instead of me playing an uphill battle, it was them now being on the defensive and me having really good control over the game. As far as the cards individually, Norois are self-explanatory, right? You fill your soul, you draw. This one is resource management. This one is the best draw in the clan. And this, pretty self-explanatory, resource management as well. So that's pretty much the deck. Again, I was trying to go for a more aggressive version of it. And my personal record ended up being 6-1. My only loss was to Johnny playing Sharat, right? Darkness. Really, really bad matchup in my opinion, but it was a good game. And then in top 8, I lost all my matches. So shoutouts to Michelle and Snips for carrying me as the running joke now. Overall, though, I think that my performance was pretty good. My only losses were to decks that I expected to really lose against, so that's pretty good. As far as shoutouts go, so my first shoutout goes to Michelle. You are like the love of my life, and I'm really glad that we can share success together in card games, and I hope that there are many more. And then shoutouts to the team, right, Snips and Michelle, for being the best team that I could ever have. Shoutouts to anyone I tested with, so Riley, everyone from Computer Gaming Universe, the New York crew. Thank you guys so much for challenging me. And then also another shout out to CGU for allowing me to represent them. They are my local, and I'm grateful for the fact that we do have a consistent Vanguard local. And then finally, shout out to my boy Chris Sock for piloting Grade 1 7 Cs to finals. I don't know what you're doing, but please tell me your secret, because I will play that deck hands down. Oh, and shout out to Thomas Sharp for telling me that Renee is the only way to go, and that you should only play Renee. Do not steer from the path. And that really held true this weekend. That's all I have for the deck.
All right, man. Well, congratulations. We hope to see you in future events, of course, and we wish you nothing but success. Thank you so much for showing us your complete deck and your complete strategy, and I wish you all the best, man. Good luck to you.
Thanks, man.
All right.